All right, ladies and gentlemen, the election date is confirmed. April 28th, Canada is going to be heading to the polls. This is the final stretch. Everything that we have wanted, getting rid of Trudeau, a new face to the Canadian government, actual proper leadership, competence, common sense. We're almost there, and it's so important that we get ready to vote, that we share videos out like this, hit the like button, subscribe, because this is it, folks. It's all or nothing. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage y'all to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. And I want to remind you guys that there is a 20% off code for the links down below in the description or the pinned comment below. Use code SAVECANADA, all in caps. You can get yourself a sign to go in the lawn, man. Isn't that crazy? Holy smokes. These things are flying off the shelves. You can also get yourself Canada First hoodie along with a whole bunch of other merch and fan favorites, these stickers. This one right here above me, the Canada First one, is my favorite, and the Canada Not For Sale. Again, use code SAVECANADA, link down below in the description or the pinned comment below. Get yourself 25% off. And without further ado, let's get into this, man. Holy smokes, I'm freaking excited. I'm freaking excited for April 28th. All right, we're starting things off, though, with President Donald Trump, who says Canada is a nasty negotiator.
Well, people are coming to me and talking about tariffs, and a lot of people are asking me if they could have exceptions. And once you do that for one, you have to do that for all. So, I mean, generally, I did something interestingly during 2 weeks ago. I gave the American car companies a break because it would have been unfair if I didn't. And everybody said, oh, he changed his mind on tariffs. I didn't change my mind. I helped our, sort of big three, big four. I helped some of the American companies, and instead of taking it properly, they said, oh, he changed it. I don't change, but the word flexibility is an important word. Sometimes there's flexibility, so there'll be flexibility, but basically it's reciprocal, so that if China is charging us 50% or 30% or 20%, and I don't mean China, I mean anybody, any country, Canada. Nobody knows that Canada is charging our dairy farmers. They have 270% tariffs. Nobody knows that. Nobody knows that. They have up to 400%. They have a couple of tariffs at 400%. Nobody knows that. Nobody talks about that. And remember, with Canada, we don't need their cars. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their energy. We don't need anything from Canada. And yet it costs us $200 billion a year in subsidy to keep Canada afloat. So when I say they should be a state, I mean that. I really mean that. Because we can't be expected to carry a country that is right next to us on our border. It would be a great state. It would be a cherished state. The taxes for Canadian citizens would go down in less than half. They don't spend money on military because they think we're going to protect them. There are many things that they do, like icebreakers. They want us to provide icebreakers for them. Oh, that's wonderful. So the Canada, they're very tough traders too. I want to just tell you, of all the people, they're tough traders. They trade very tough. And, the expression I use is, some people don't have the cards. I used that expression about a week and a half ago, right? Somebody was negotiating who didn't have the cards, who's now, I think, saying that he wants to do it, and I think we're going to have a big deal on that, very special something. We got to make a deal on that. But Canada has been a very nasty negotiator against the United States, took advantage of the United States for a long time.
Are you concerned that if they became the 51st state, they would be a very, very blue state? Very, very big and very, very blue.
No, there might be, but...
Oh, frig, probably.
You have that artificial line that goes, that straight artificial, that looked like it was drawn by a ruler. Somebody with I don't mean a ruler like a king, I mean like a ruler, this way. And it's just an artificial line that was drawn in the sand or in the ice. And can I tell you, Peter, just, you add that to this country, what a beautiful landmass, the most beautiful landmass anywhere in the world. And it was just cut off for whatever reason. It would be great. Now, Is it liberal? Maybe. But, you know, a conservative until I got involved, because I don't care who wins up there. I frankly probably would do better with the Liberal than the Conservative, if you want to know the truth. But just a little while ago, before I got involved and totally changed the election, which I don't care about, probably it's to our advantage, actually. But the Conservative was leading against, I call him Governor Trudeau. The Conservative was leading by 35 points. So, so I don't know about that. I think Canada is a place like a lot of other places. If you have a good candidate, the candidate's going to win.
Oh my goodness, man. Well, I hate to tell you that you're wrong, Mr. President, but Canadians are very much prepared to go and vote for a conservative government. And I think that this trade war will come to a screeching halt sooner than later, especially once Pierre Poilievre is elected as Canada's new prime minister. Now we're going to take a look here at CNN. I don't freaking get this. And to be honest, this actually pisses me off. The fact that liberal politicians are running to CNN to get airtime in America and speak to Americans, it just freaking rubs me the wrong way. But they're specifically talking about Maine, the East Coast, and how Canadians are not traveling to America and it is hurting the economy. Let's take a look.
And more breaking news as the trade war between the U.S. and Canada shows no signs of letting up. Two government sources say new Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is expected to ask to dissolve Parliament this Sunday and call for federal elections on April 28th. Now, earlier this month, Carney was elected leader of the country's Liberal Party and took over as prime minister when Justin Trudeau stepped down after low poll numbers in a cabinet revolt. That has not stopped President Trump from attacking Trudeau. This is what he said last night.
One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada. The people that, now this was Trudeau, the people that good old Justin, I call him Governor Trudeau, his people were nasty.
President Trump last night. Now, earlier this month, before stepping down, Trudeau said this at a press conference.
Canadians are hurt. Canadians are angry. We're going to choose to not go on vacation in Florida or Old Orchard Beach or wherever.
And that's happening. Our Randy Kay went to Maine's Old Orchard Beach, and this is her report.
This has been a family business for 50 years. You got to take into the fact how the Canadians perceive this, and they are incredibly pissed off.
We met Sterling Morse in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. He owns the Point of View Inn, which is only about 150 miles from the Canadian border.
We have been here.
He says the majority of his regular customers are French Canadians.
Very traditional people, families that take the same room, the same dates every year.
Not this year. Sterling says most of his Canadian customers have canceled, fed up with President Donald Trump's antagonistic rhetoric toward Canada. There's the threat of tariffs, too, and lately Trump has suggested redrawing the border between the two countries.
It's affecting at least 90% of my business.
Are you saying you've had 90% of your business canceled this year?
Easily.
Point of View in.
During our visit, yet another Canadian called to cancel.
Listen, monsieur, you don't need to explain anymore.
This is every registration card from last year. This is the Canadian. That's my American. This just went away.
That's all you got now. That doesn't pay the bills.
Does not.
Best of my ability.
For Sterling Morse, it all snowballed shortly after Donald Trump's inauguration.
All of a sudden an email pops up. It's almost like, your phone, ding, ding, slow ding. It's people that have been here for 35, 40 years. You recognize that number. And it's like, I know why they're calling. And the anger is, in my eyes, incredibly justified.
Here in Old Orchard Beach, roughly 40% of the tourists come from Canada, according to the Chamber of Commerce.
Man, Canadians love traveling to America, especially border towns, easy access, if there's a beach for surezies, but also down south, Arizona, Florida, probably a little bit more in Texas this year as well, right? People just want to escape the cold. They want to get down to America for vacations. And America, even Trump and Americans are saying that Canadians boycotting traveling there isn't going to affect them. It kind of will a little bit. Yeah, absolutely. It will a little bit in conjunction with tariffs, not only from Canada, but other countries as well. This whole thing is just bizarre that Trump is doubling down on all this. We could bring this all to an end and no more trade war, no more tariffs. I can't wait for that day.
The Chamber's executive director told us that those tourists make up about 30 to 40% of the revenue for many of the businesses here.
I think we're still kind of seeing how many different industries this impacts. It doesn't just impact tourism, of course.
Over at the Alouette Beach Resort, owner Fred Kennedy hasn't seen a cancellation yet, but he's heard an earful from his Canadian customers. What are they telling you?
Well, their feelings are basically hurt. They don't like to be referred to as the 51st state, and they feel that they just want to express themselves and in sort of a nationalistic way. As a innkeeper, a hotelier, I'm concerned with losing any guests. I'm sort of cautiously optimistic that things will resolve themselves as time goes on.
Old Orchard Beach is a seasonal town, so businesses have about 12 to 15 weeks to make their money for the entire year. Back at the Point of View Inn, Sterling Morse doesn't see any way he can make up that lost revenue this season.
You got to start thinking about the end game. The end game of 50 years of tradition, to be honest, yeah.
Like you would consider closing down, selling?
There may be no choice.
Sterling.
Wow, because of this boycott. Well, I think things are going to take a turn for the positive, especially after April 28th, which is what we're taking a look at right now. Full-blown confirmation that Canadians will be heading to the polls April 28th for a snap federal election. Here we go. Here we go.
Breaking news, CTV News now knows when voters will be heading to the polls following tomorrow's snap election call. Let's bring in CTV's Jeremy Sharon to break it all down for us. Hi, Jeremy. Good to see you. So when is the big day?
Yeah, Brene, April 28th will be the big day. That will be voting day for Canadians. That means this will be as short of a campaign as Elections Canada will allow. That's 37 days, including tomorrow, which will be, the Ritz Drop Day, and Election Day itself, which will be April 28th. So that is what we now know. We had reported earlier this week, sources had told us that a final decision hadn't been made yet. There were two dates being kind of talked about, the first being April 28th, the second being May 5th, but it would appear that decision has now been made, and we know that Canadians will head to the polls on April 28th.
And so this will be, as you mentioned, Jeremy, the shortest possible election campaign. Why do you think Carney is going that route?
Yeah, I think it's certainly strategic on behalf of Mark Carney and the Liberal Party. His team clearly has put a lot of thought into this. They're trying to capitalize on momentum, and they're trying to allow for the least amount of time for that momentum to dissipate, for them to lose the momentum that they have been gaining now for a little over a month in the polls. If we look just 2 months ago, the Conservatives were way out ahead of the Liberals, more than a 20-point lead at some points. All the talk was about how large the Conservative majority would be. And now we're looking at a race that is neck and neck. Most public opinion polls have, the Conservatives and Liberals within that margin of error, 1 or 2 points difference. Some polls even have the Liberals ahead of the Conservatives. So the Conservatives have been kind of slowly gaining momentum due to a multitude of factors. Former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stepping down, resigning. The trade war with Donald Trump has done nothing but help the Liberal Party.
I think it's the timing of it. I wouldn't say it's helped them significantly. I do think that because the Liberal government is the only party that can say or do anything that's relevant right now for our country, that definitely gives them an advantage and gives them the ability to rally up patriotism behind whatever movements or whatever moves they choose to do in regards to this ongoing trade war and conflict. Because if government wasn't prorogued, you'd be hearing from the Conservatives and Pierre Poilievre every single day in Parliament. They'd be badgering and hammering them, and they would just look like absolute fools, right? But that, unfortunately, is not what's happening. What is happening is propaganda. Absolute freaking propaganda. The fact that Liberals are running to CNN to get more eyes and social norms, right? Just trying to control the narrative. Like, it's just so greasy. The fact that the Liberals are copying everything that Pierre has been putting forward for the past several years and playing it off as their own ideas, original ideas, like cutting the GST off of $1 million home sales for first-time home buyers and stuff like that. That's Pierre's idea, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm glad that things are going to be happening, but I just don't trust the Liberals to do that. That's the biggest difference. He's engagement farming, right? He's trying to play on fence sitters' emotions and try to sweeten the pot, saying, well, everything you like about him, I'm also going to do, right? I don't like that at all. I think it's very disingenuous. And we've had 10 years now of Liberals. If this isn't the biggest sign that it's just not working for Liberals in this era, then I think that's, on us to vote our way out of this.
Canadians seem to feel, most Canadians who've been polled feel that Mark Carney is best suited to handle Donald Trump, to take on Donald Trump in negotiations. And so all of those factors are helping the Liberal Party, and they're clearly looking to capitalize on that momentum before they lose any of it or something happens that changes that momentum, because we know this is politics. Things can change very fast, as we've seen in the polls over the last 2 months, that big swing that has closed the gap.
And what do you anticipate that we'll see during this campaign, Jeremy?
Well, I mean, look, this is a campaign that's going to focus. We've heard from, all the pundits, all the experts, all the strategists say this will be a campaign that will focus on one issue, and that issue is Donald Trump. The trade war, the tariffs, they all fall into that one category. And taking on Donald Trump is how all the candidates will have to pitch themselves. Whoever can best position themselves as the person to best take on Donald Trump will be the successful candidate and will be Canada's next prime minister. That is everything that we're hearing. That will be the sole focus for all the candidates. From Mark Carney and the Liberals, will likely continue to hear that, he will be a good negotiator. He's someone who understands the economy. He's someone who is calm, cool, collected in a situation like this, and the perfect person to lead Canadians through this time of trouble. That's what the Liberals will tell us. On the other side of things, we're likely to hear from the Conservatives that, they need, Canadians need someone who is a fighter, and that Pierre Poilievre is that fighter. That's the message that we've continued to hear from the Conservative Party, that he would be better suited to take on Donald Trump than the Liberal Party and Mark Carney. And they'll likely lean on recent comments from Donald Trump, who says that, he'd rather take on a Liberal Party. He feels the Liberal Party would be easier to deal with. So I think we can expect to see the Conservatives certainly lean into those comments. And when it comes to the NDP, what we heard from them today, Jagmeet Singh speaking to media today about, his party going into this election. He was asked a lot about, the recent polling that has seen a massive increase in support for the Liberals and coming at the expense of support for the NDP. They've, lost a lot of support. Some public opinion polls showing their seat count could drop to as low as 7 seats in the House. They currently have 24. Jagmeet Singh pitched himself today as a fighter as well, and he said the only progressive choice for Canadians to take on Donald Trump. He called, Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre as more of conservative choices, and feels as though that his party is the only progressive choice for Canadians, and he pitched himself as a fighter today as well. So I think, what we'll continue to see, Renee, is all of these leaders find a way to pitch themselves against Donald Trump and how they would take him on. That will be what we'll continue to hear throughout this campaign.
All right. CTV's Jeremy Sharon report.
This really feels like it's Canada's final hope. Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope, but geared towards Pierre Poilievre. I personally don't think that I can withstand another term of Liberals. Many viewers here would probably agree with that as well, for your own sake, right? We just can't do it. I mean, look what they had done during COVID, during the trucker convoy. They abused their power. They're criminals. They're stealing billions of dollars. Literally, the only person that's different in this new Carney administration is Carney. Trudeau is gone, replaced by Carney. all the other MPs are still the same people, just kind of shuffled around. Nothing different is going to happen. That's why we need to vote with all of the available information. Vote with your wallets. Vote with your emotions. Do whatever it takes. But oh my goodness, mark it on your calendars. April 28th. It's set in stone, ladies and gentlemen. That is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and visit the link to get your own Canada merch down below or the pinned comment. Use code SAVECANADA for 20% off, and I'll see you in a later video. Bye for now.
Mr. Sunshine Baby, Sunshine Baby, Sunshine, 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 Shine, 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 Shine Baby.
Na 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 na. Hey, goodbye. Good.